This week, President Trump celebrated his 100th day in office, or perhaps mourned is the better word, as the day was marked with the worst favorability record set a president's 100th day in 8 decades. Do you know how long that is? That is a whole Joe Biden. And instead of spending the day gluing 100 Cheerios onto a piece of paper like the traditional 100th day celebration, the president spent it the way he spends all of his days, tanking the economy, endangering the planet, and complaining about his poll numbers. And while President Trump's 39% approval rating is the lowest in 80 years, I still have some serious choice words for the 39% of people who approve what has happened in the past 100 days. Who approves of deporting children? Who approves of arresting judges? Who approves of firing thousands of federal workers and seemingly giving measles a free pass to just roam around? Who approves of withholding funding to universities doing crucial research and trying to end women's health research and ending foreign aid and even wearing the wrong color suit to the Pope's funeral? My God, can the man not do a single thing correctly? How 39% of Americans can still look around and see $12 eggs and every single warning sign of fascism and think, well, at least a woman isn't in charge. I mean, I just do not know. This is Choice Words. I'm Samantha Bee. My guest this week is probably the most household name I can think of, Weird Al Yankovic. A genius comedy songwriter, and weird in just the best way possible, not the J.D. Vance way. He is pure joy, and I know you need that. So take a listen and make good choices. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be talking to you. You cannot even imagine my joy. It's too much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Are you kidding? You've just been a towering figure in my life.
Oh my goodness.
Like I'm like a lifetime fan.
And same back to you.
Oh.
It's an honor to be on your show.
No, I can't. I can't take it. Stop. Don't shut up. Okay, I do want to say to the audience, like how we came together, how you came to be on this podcast is so crazy. I mean, I haven't talked about it yet.
No, okay. Can I tell the story?
Yeah, please.
It's pretty wild. So my manager emails me and says, "Would you like to be on Samantha Bee's podcast?" And I was like, "Obviously, of course, I love Samantha Bee. That would be such an honor." So he said, "Okay, the producer's going to call you tomorrow and set it up so that you can do the telecommunication, the Zoom or whatever." I said, "Okay." So he calls up. And he sounds like a guy doing tech support in India. I'm not going to do the voice. Don't worry about it. But he sounds totally like he's talking from, the other side of the world. I'm thinking, this is kind of odd for Samantha Bee's producer to outsource. Okay, I'm rolling with it. Okay, fine. So he goes, okay, we're going to be doing the interview through Facebook. So I need you to open your laptop and make all these changes. So he had me change all these things to my settings and the system. And I thought it was a little fishy, but I thought, I'm sure Samantha Bee's producer would not let me do anything that would...
She has her systems.
She has her ways about it.
Yeah.
So the next day, he said the next day you're going to get a request for the interview. Just accept it and we'll do the interview. And I didn't get any request. And I emailed the guy back and he said, "Oh, you're obviously having technical problems on your end of the line. We'll reschedule this for some other time." And then I waited several days and we never got a call from anybody. And I told my manager, like, this is odd. I mean, and I just got an alert saying that somebody in Dublin is requesting access to my account. And this seems very odd. And the very next day, I was locked out of my Facebook account, and somebody was running these kind of scuzzy ads on my Facebook account. So this happened for 48 hours, and thankfully I know people that know people that know people at Facebook, and we were able to deal with it. But my manager, in the meantime, called your real producer and said,
actual producer,
and said, did you ask for Al to be on the show? And she said, no, but by the way, we'd love to have him on the show.
Yes. Oh my God.
So that's all so it all happened from a major scam. And now here we are.
Brought together by technology.
Yes.
Isn't it a miracle?
It is.
Oh my God. You know what? There are people out there, and it happens to like almost every podcaster that I know of. There are people who pretend to be your producer, and then they send out requests that I would send out, and they seem very reasonable and meaningful and heartfelt. And
so that's a real thing. That happens a lot. It seems like a lot of effort on their behalf.
And I'm sorry, and I can't stop him. Whoever it is, them, this body of who knows? It's a little disconcerting that things are coming from Dublin. Like, what is happening? I'm sorry. What were the ads? Were they were just like pornographic? They were like,
well, they weren't pornographic, but penis related. Yeah,
penis related. Like pornographically related. Like if you want to be an actor in porn, you need the enhancements.
Yes,
like enhancements. Well, that's great.
They're helpful ads. They wanted to help you.
Yes, for the good of humanity.
Very positive.
It's very positive. That's beautiful. Okay, all right. So let us get to the show is called Choice Words, as you know. Mm-hmm. Now you know this.
Now I know.
Now you know. Are you good at making big choices? Are you like a very decisive, or you're very artisty?
I like to think I'm pretty good at making choices. I think all the big choices I've made in my life have worked out. I think I married the right woman. I'm very happy. I'm happy with all the choices I made up so far in my life to have this career. Of course, if I had like a time machine, like everybody else, I would, kill baby Hitler and buy Apple stock, that kind of stuff. Sure. But I do agonize over decisions. I think I'm good at making decisions, but I can make quick decisions, but given time, I will just agonize over every little thing. Like if I'm like editing a music video, I'll spend hours going like, is take 3 better or take 17? My eyebrows a little bit more arched in take 17.
Yes. Isn't that like the best process? Like I think editing is agonizing, it's torture, and it's amazing. Do you enjoy that process?
I do, because I'm, I get a little obsessive compulsive, and that's part of my personality, but I think I'm good at that. I read Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, which kind of helped me a little bit, because the whole thesis of that was like, your first decision is the correct one. Just like you have an innate sense of like what works, and usually like your first impression is the right one. So just go with that. Right. So I don't always follow that advice, but I try to like not be the guy that spends all day long like obsessing over minutia.
Right. I think that's funny that you mentioned that you married the right partner. That's a huge choice, and people don't talk about it very often, but it's like that's a big one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Suzanne was on. She completes me in every way. I'm actually a very kind of shy, withdrawn person, and she's very, gregarious, and she fills in all the holes in conversations, which is very important. Yeah,
that's very important. I feel like how long have you been together?
24 years.
Amazing. Yeah. Similar to me and my husband. We've been together roughly the same amount of time, and I like to say that it's like the right relationship is additive. To you. Like it should not subtract from your personality. It should like make you sort of better.
every major life decision has kind of made me a happier person. I was totally fine and happy as a single person. I was single for most of my adult life. Yeah. And then I found Susanna, we got married, and my life got that much better. And then we had a child, and my life got better still.
Amazing. Is there a choice that you can think of that really kind of changed the trajectory of your life? It doesn't even have to be it doesn't even have to be a big one, but is there something that you look back on and go, oh, well, I'm so glad I took that path. I wouldn't have thought.
There are so many like wild choices and decisions I've had to make, which we could fill up the whole show doing that. But the most seminal one, I guess, would just be the decision to have a whack at showbiz, because I'm the absolute opposite of a nepo baby. I had absolutely no connection with show business. Nobody in my family. I grew up in Los Angeles County, but in Linwood, which is about not Hollywood in the slightest. And the fact that I thought that I could, have a career in the music industry, playing the accordion.
It's a pretty big swing.
It's a big swing. It's a huge swing. Yeah. I got my degree in architecture and I graduated and I thought, that's not my passion. I don't really want to be doing that. And let's see if I can get a record deal. So just the thought of me doing that and being that naive and nothing to lose really, I thought, well, let's give it a shot,
Right. And then people they say yes a little bit and you're like, well, I'll just keep going until someone gives me like a hardcore no.
Yeah. So it's been a while and so far it's working out. We'll see how it goes.
You studied architecture.
Yeah.
You love to. Is there a part of you? Did you just go into it because you're like, I have to pick a major, or do you still do that? Do you still kind of go, oh, I feel like I could just redo, or I want to see this differently? Like, do you see the world in that way?
I think it was like when I was 12 years old, I had a guidance counselor in high school that was trying to get people to decide, what are you going to be when you grow up? So I was good at, I liked design. I was good at math. I had an analytical mind, and he thought, oh, you're an architect. And then I realized it's not something I love. It's just something that was chosen for me, sort of.
Can I tell you, when I did that quiz in high school or in grade, whatever it was, you know what they told me that I should be? A mortician.
What? How in the world? What aptitudes did you have that people?
Creepiness? I don't know. I don't have a clue. I was so upset by that. I was like, what vibes am I giving off?
I have never heard that. I can't even imagine what.
I don't know how I answered the questions. Maybe I was trying to be edgy.
You're good at English lit. You seem to like biology. Oh, biology. You're probably good in biology.
You care deeply about death and about the afterlife. Like, what in the world?
I think back, when I was in high school, which was the 70s, I think there was a limited range of occupations that they were allowed to say that you should be. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're not going to say, oh, you should go into showbiz. What I actually said to my guidance counselor was, I'd really rather be a writer for Mad Magazine.
Oh my God.
Because I loved, that's, which is close to what I do now. And he said, that's not a job that an adult has.
That's not on the list. Would you like to be a mortician? Would you like to embalm dead bodies?
And then when I'm in college in literally an auditorium full of architecture majors, and I'm looking around and I'm thinking there can't possibly be this many openings for architects in the world,
So you're like, I will be a person who the world didn't even know it needed.
Right.
I'm going to be a comedy writer, performer of the accordion.
You look for that vacuum and you fill it,
You just fill. There was a need. You didn't know one knew. And there you were. You were just ready. You were poised. Performance careers are so different now. Like, building a performance career is such a different experience. And I feel like when you watch TikTok and you are on Instagram and stuff like that, there's just like such a wealth of people who can just put their stuff out there. And maybe it catches on and maybe it doesn't. Do you think that you would have the same career now if that had existed then?
That's a good question. I'm active on social media, but and it's great that, social media has kind of leveled the playing field. I mean, ever since YouTube came along, I mean, if your stuff is good, people can see it. Whereas when I started out in the 80s, there was a lot of gatekeeping. I was very fortunate. I got a record deal and I was able to submit things to MTV and things like that, which, most people could not do at that time. So I got very lucky. And, I'd like to think I'd do okay if I started out now. But it would be a lot tougher.
Because such young people are finding your material now. Like, my kids know who you are, and they don't know who you are through me. I've shown them your stuff in the past, but they, sometimes my daughter comes to me and she's like, can I just play my music in the car? And it's all yacht rock. It's like, what?
Oh, no kidding.
I'm like, Boz Scaggs, what is going on right now?
Cranking the Steely Dan.
Cranking it.
Wow.
Yes. And it's actually brought this ability for kids to see all of this richness from our youth or from decades ago. It's very interesting.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. I think it's so cool that you have such young fans, actually. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's not, interesting when I look out into the concert audience, and it's
Yeah.
really all demographics imaginable.
Right.
It's everybody from like embryos to dead people. It's like the whole gamut.
Listen, dead
It's
people, that's my job.
That's
You
my
let
core
me take
audience.
care. You let me take care of all those dead people. Don't you worry about it. I've got. Okay, you're going on tour again.
I am.
So you're going on tour again,
I
starting in
am.
when? In June?
Yeah, my daughter graduates college, and I'm the next day. I think the next day I'm on with Jimmy Fallon, and then I'm on a bus for 3.5 months.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. What made you want to pick up and like get on a bus? What made you, and what is
Well,
your
it's
tour
a
bus
long
look
way to
like?
walk. You know, I
Yeah,
figure
it
like,
is.
yeah.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people you want faster, and it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there are no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. When I was looking to hire someone, it was really slow and actually quite overwhelming. I wish I had used Indeed. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. How fast is Indeed? In the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Join the 3.5 million employers worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Sam. Just go to Indeed.com/Sam right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Sam. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Are you good at tour life? Like, when's the last time you toured like that?
Oh, the last tour, it was like maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
It's just a different kind of mindset. I mean,
Okay.
it's an entirely different reality, because I'll be at home like taking out the garbage, and I'll think, oh, tomorrow night I'm going to be in front of 10,000 people. You know, it's just
Right. Right. I'm kind of amazed by how you stay in shape for it. Like, how do you keep your voice? Like, all those kind of tips and tricks, or are you just so experienced now that the muscle memory comes right back to you? But I feel like when I stand on stage, if I haven't for a long time, my voice gets really raw, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, right. Oh, yeah. Right.
That's a tough one, because I have lost my voice on the road
have you?
before, and it's the
Okay.
worst, because if you probably know this, if you get laryngitis, I mean, the only real cure is just
Yeah.
not talking. Like they'll say,
Yes.
yeah, just don't even whisper, like for a week. And like
Right.
if you're doing like 5 shows a week, that's not an option. So you just
That's,
keep damaging your voice over and over and over. So
yeah.
I've learned to basically live like a monk on the road, take a vow of silence when I'm not on the stage
Oh.
or doing the meet and greets. I just, I don't talk at
Mm.
all. I'm a very quiet person, very antisocial, just saving
Wow.
it for the show.
Do people expect you to be just like, when you walk into a room, do they have an expectation that you're just like, you bring the party and you're just like Mr. Gregarious, and then you're just like, oh no, actually I'm a normal
Yeah.
human being.
Probably some people felt that way. I mean,
Mhm.
I think, in fact, in the early days, I kind of felt a slight inclination to try to live up to my nickname,
Okay.
but
Okay.
that got old very quickly. But I still had
Right.
people coming up to me on the street and going, "Hey, Weird Al, how's it going?" I'm like, "Hey, nice to meet you. Good to see you.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?"
Just trying to buy my bagel.
Right?
Just reading the paper.
Yep.
Is it true that this is the first time that you're doing Madison Square Garden?
It is, yeah.
Oh my God.
I've never even been inside Madison Square Garden.
Wait, what? Really? Oh
Yeah.
my God, you're gonna
Yeah.
have your brain is gonna
I
bisect.
know. I was actually offered to open for Duran Duran at Madison Square Garden in 1984. And I think I turned it down because I knew that I'd get torn apart. Because I had some pretty early
Wow.
experiences opening for bands. And I know that
Okay.
at the time, 1984, the Duran Duran fans were all frenzied teenage girls that would not
Yes.
have taken kindly to an opening act playing the accordion.
Well, I feel like people would often try to pair you with a band, wouldn't they? Like, is that Have you gone out with a band, like a real rock band before? You have, right?
Not as an open. The only time I've done that really was in 1987. I was the opening act for the Monkees. So that entire tour I got to, because that felt like a, they were, we would get along and we'd have the Venn diagram of our fan bases seemed like it would work out.
Right. That makes sense. I was like, oh, were you at like one of the police picnics? But, oh my God, MSG. That's going to feel amazing.
Yeah, I know.
People are going to go crazy for you.
I'm trying not to get nervous. I tend to get a little bit nervous for like the big shows.
Okay.
I stay in a fetal position on the floor till the showtime.
You do? Yeah. Yes. Do you have that dark night of the soul 30 minutes before showtime where you're like, I don't know why I chose this.
Like, why did I do this?
An architect. I could have built this building.
No, I've got way more anxiety than somebody in my line of work should have. But it goes away as soon as you set foot on the stage, it goes away. But the 30 minutes leading up to it is horrible.
I talked to Nico Case. Do you know Nico Case?
Mm-hmm.
She wrote the best book recently. It's really, really good. And I really recommend it to everyone who's listening right now. It's amazing. But she talks about that, like that dark night of the soul before you go on stage as a performer. And she said like that's like kind of the time when a lot of musicians and performers like fall into the trap of addiction in a way because they like reach for something because they're like, I don't know how to get out of this. How am I going to get into show mode? Like, do you have a ritual that gets you into the mindset, or do you just hear people in the audience and go, well, it's time to go to work?
I just have quiet time. I just allow myself to be nervous. I take a long shower, comb out my hair, do a few vocal warm-up exercises, stuff like that. It's a very quiet time for me. I've been around other artists that are the exact opposite, where I'll be hanging around with them backstage and I'll say, don't you go on stage in 30 seconds? They go, oh yeah, okay, well, see you later, goodbye. And then they come back 2 hours later. Okay, now where were we?
Wow. Oh my God.
I can't do that. I'm not that cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Isn't it? It's fun to like you play big, huge crowds. I don't. Like I do like keep it really, really small because I like it. But like, how do you come down after a show? Like, what do you feel like once you've done it and your show, how long are you performing for usually? Like how long is your
It varies, 2 hours plus 2 hours. Usually. Yeah.
That's long. That's a lot.
Yeah, but it's a real adrenaline rush, and that's why I generally stay up till close to dawn when I'm on the road, just because it takes me a while to kind of calm down, and and then I sleep till lunchtime basically.
Okay,
but I can't just like do a show and then go back on the bus like okay night
nighttime
doesn't work.
No, there's just too much, just kind of like going on in your bloodstream.
Yeah,
there's too much there. Do you know about the researcher at Georgia Tech who created an algorithm called Weird AI Yankovic? Do you know about that?
I perhaps not.
Oh, okay. I wondered if he ever reached out to you because he created like AI.
A fake me,
it's kind of a fake you. I'm not recommending it to anyone. I just wondered if you knew that existed.
Not sure that I know there was a lot of confusion because in upper and lowercase, my name looks like Weird AI, and that's a source of a lot of confusion for people.
Yes,
like some people,
imagine so.
Because a lot of people don't like Weird AI, but they do like me.
They do like you. And how do you? Can you talk to me about your creative process? What is that like?
Yes.
How is that? You're a creator. You build buildings. You build skyscrapers. You make music. How do you create? What is your process? Has it changed over the years?
I've just gotten more into the process where like when I first started out, I didn't think anybody cared about what I wrote. I would write things for the Dr. Demento radio show and write something that afternoon in like, 20, 30 minutes and then just play it on the air that night. And it was like, I didn't think anything about it. And then, a few years down the line, when I realized people actually cared about what I was doing and that I would ostensibly have to play these songs on stage for, the rest of my life, I thought, I should maybe put some more effort into this. So now, even though it's like something ridiculous, I'll sometimes spend weeks or months working on a song just to like fine tune it and craft it as much as I possibly can.
I mean, how many instruments do you How many instruments do you play now?
Well, just one. I mean,
Just the one.
the accordion is my axe.
Yeah.
I play various percussion instruments. I can play a piano badly because my left hand's
Okay.
used to playing buttons.
Okay. Okay.
I think I play harmonica on stage a little bit, but not well. If
Uh-huh.
you ever see me in a music video with a guitar, it's purely a prop. I'm
Oh,
the worst fake guitar player in the world.
have to watch your fingering. But
Yeah.
you know what? I don't know how to play the guitar, so it all looks real to me. I'm just like, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to learn, but then I thought, I've got a great guitar player in my band. Why do I need to learn how to play the guitar?
Have you been working with the same like band or like collaborators for a long time, or do you kind of move around?
No, it's the exact same guys I've had since the early 80s. They've been with
Wow.
me for over 40 years.
Oh my God.
Now on this tour, the reason it's called the Bigger and Weirder Tour is
Yeah.
we're doubling the size of the band. So it's the guys that have
Okay.
been with me forever, plus we're adding 4 new people just because we want a bigger sound and so we can play some songs that we've never been able to play live before because they were, too complicated. So now we've got horns and more background
Oh.
singers, and it's just going to be more of an event.
Which songs were you not able to play before?
Well, see, that if I told you, that would be giving away the secret.
I don't want to. You have to have a secret. You have to have
Yeah.
the secret part.
So
of the show.
that's kind of the hook because it's the best of all worlds. It's all the big hits that people know and expect us to play, and then there's a lot of sort of deep cuts that we've just never been able to pull off live.
Did you have days where you were like, I got 2 full bangers out today? Like, were you like Dolly Parton style? You got like a Jolene and I Will Always Love You in the same day?
I don't work that way. Like I'll come up with a bunch of ideas maybe, but in terms of writing songs, I will give myself a deadline. I'll say I've got I need to finish the song within 2 weeks or whatever it is.
Okay.
So I'm not one of these kind of people that writes 10 songs before breakfast in the morning.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
just something that I agonize over. And
Great.
like for every, if you went through my notebooks, for every line in a lyric, there are 12 alternate lines, like a different joke, a different turn of phrase, a different way to say it. So the
Right.
flow works better.
Yeah.
And in my head, there's only one correct way it can be. And then I just figure out what that way is.
Right. It's really hard to write comedic songs. Like we did a couple on Full Frontal, and they always were. There's a craftsmanship to it that I think people don't understand, because when it flows, it sounds great and it can sing along and it's so easy, but it actually takes it has its own architecture. I'm going
Yeah.
to stop making architecture references, but it does. It's like
Yeah.
there's a real structure to it that
Thank you.
is an undergirding.
And the irony is a lot of people respect it less because it's comedy. For my whole
Right.
career, I've heard oh, here's my favorite backhanded compliment. Oh, you're such a great musician. You're such a good singer. You write so well. You could do real music.
Right. Yes. Well, the problem is when you make something look easy, everyone's like, I mean, I kind of do that already.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I mean, I do that too.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right. Like they refer to my band as a joke band when they're like some of the best musicians in the world. They do every
Right.
genre imaginable, everything you can think of under the
Right.
sun,
Yeah, they would
and
have
they
to.
crush it. Yeah.
Do they do like separate, kind of like when you're not performing? Are they off making music on their own too, and then you
Yeah.
come together?
They do. I mean, I don't keep them busy all the time. In fact, my guitar player, Jim Kimo West, he's won a Grammy for slack key guitar playing. He's a beautiful
Wow.
does beautiful Hawaiian guitar music.
Oh, wow.
They're multi-talented. I mean, they're really like top of the field.
Have there been many times where you have started something, like you've started a song or you've started a project or whatever, and you've thought, I don't feel that this is too weird even for me. I'm not into it, or like kind of lose the thread of it and you
Mhm.
never finish it? Do you have like an unfinished file?
Not really. I'm pretty
Mhm.
good. I think one of my greater talents is I can pretty much decide if a concept is going to work. So I do I do all of my editing in the conceptual stage. I'll think of like 100 ideas for songs, and then I'll narrow it down to like the 12 that I think are going to work. And once I decide, okay, I'm going to write this song, I don't ever back out of it. I don't think like this is not working. I'm going to move on to something else. I'm going to make this work. It's going to work. And once I have that kind of commitment, like there's no turning back, then I'm forced to like just give it my best shot every single time.
Wow. Like you're like a full body performer. You're like a full full body, full commitment
Put my
performer.
whole body into it. My
You do, you put your
torso, arms,
whole
legs,
arms,
the whole
legs,
thing,
the
my head.
whole deal. At the end of a tour, are you just like wiped out, or
Yeah.
does it make you like, okay, it both feeds you and destroys you?
Yeah. No, it is exhausting.
Oh.
I mean, it's a real workout. It's a huge workout
Yeah.
every night on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm drenched at the end of the show. I take
I
a shower before and after the show. It's
Before and after.
yeah, it's a lot of work, but obviously I enjoy it very much.
I feel like the world is so polarizing now, isn't it? What's it like to be maybe the only non-polarizing human being in the entire country?
You know what? I do have a strong political beliefs, but I'm not
Yes.
I'm not compelled to share them publicly, and there's two reasons for that. One, my fan base is pretty evenly dispersed over the entire political spectrum, and
Yeah.
and part of my DNA is I don't like to upset people or offend
Right.
people, and maybe I'm part Canadian. I don't know how that works. But
Could
I
be.
just
Could
don't
be.
like to get people mad. And number two, and probably more importantly, nobody cares. I'm not going to move the needle. Nobody's sitting around wondering
Right.
what Weird Al's hot take is on the Middle East. You know, it's you know,
What?
it's like,
That's my next question.
you know, yeah, I know how Carrot Top is voting, but what about Weird Al? I'm waiting for Weird Al to weigh in. You know,
Isn't it funny? Like, I listened to Dr. Demento as a kid, and it has produced, I feel like the rollout or like the waves of people who went into comedy vis-a-vis just listening to Dr. Demento and reading Mad Magazine. Just generationally, there are so many of us out there who are
yeah.
I mean, it just was in the popular culture. Like, it just existed as something that a certain type of person was just like, of course I'm staying at home on a Saturday night to listen
Right.
to Dr. Demento. Like,
Absolutely.
that's normal.
I mean, you know, I was created through Mad Magazine and Dr. Demento and SCTV and Saturday Night Live and Monty Python and all that, which you know, which is really cool to think that like perhaps I'm inspiring some of the people that are now coming up in comedy music and doing it now.
Do people say that? They must say that to you just
I've
when you
heard it,
meet
which
them.
is hugely gratifying. I mean, you know, it means a lot to me. Absolutely.
I don't know. There's not a single person that I know who wouldn't be like, oh my God, you're what? I told people that I was talking to today and they were like, you're what? Are you joking? No, they were like, don't mess with my heart.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Oh God, SCTV.
Yeah.
I just watched
so
that
great.
show.
So great.
Good.
Yeah.
Watch that show every single day because it was always on in Canada at dinner time. And we all watched TV at all times. So if it was like, you're like, oh, it's dinner time, everybody go watch TV and eat silently while staring at a screen. And it was SCTV.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my daughter to have the exact same comedic taste as I do because I got the SCTV box set and I remember playing it for her. And it's like, you will think this is funny.
And does she?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, yo, you're going to watch Monty Python, The Holy Grail. You will enjoy this.
Yes.
And you just try to like make a little mini-me's that have the same taste that you do. And it never works out exactly that way, does it?
It never works out. I did that to my kids.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the SCTV box set. I should get it for myself, for my own pleasure. But I got the Carol Burnett box set because also Carol Burnett. And they were just like, what? Everybody's just laughing. They're all breaking. I don't get the joke. Everybody's just laughing at each other.
I got to tell you, my wife talks about this all the time because she's a huge, I am as well, but she's a huge Carol Burnett fan.
Yeah.
And she talks about, you know, like kids don't understand what it was like before DVRs, pre-TiVo. And she would literally sit at home on Saturday night watching the Carol Burnett show and not even laughing because she didn't want to laugh and miss a joke because you couldn't rewind it. You couldn't watch it again. It's like, that was your one chance to watch the show. You know,
that was it.
That was it.
And I do kind of theorize that that's why scary movies were scarier then because you only saw it one time and it was terrifying. And it's not like you could replay it and kind of like work out what how they did the special effect or like Invasion of the Body Snatchers ruined my youth, destroyed my sleep. I never slept for 10 years probably because of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
And I think now if I watched it, I'd be like, what? Everybody's climbing out of a pickle. There's so much glue. How could anybody find this scary? Donald Sutherland, what?
Oh, yeah, the remake. That one.
Yes, that one. That's the one.
I thought you were doing the old Kevin McCarthy Body Snatchers.
How many times do you feel like you watched SCTV and like The Life of Brian?
Oh, too many to count.
Too many.
I mean, I was just, all the performances. I thought I was really envious of the hair and makeup department, and like they just, and they didn't have a large budget, but they made it work every single time.
Right.
And what an ensemble of comedic actors. I mean, just a golden period.
I think it's so interesting when someone like yourself, who has no connection to show business at all, and has watched all this great stuff, and you probably, as a kid or like watching all this stuff, never even thought for 1 second, I could 100% make a career doing this. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, I'm going to get into this. I'm going to do this. Instead, you're like, I guess I just go to school now. And so the path, I guess all the steps you take to just try something, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and thankfully I had very understanding parents, because they were not career minded. They were like lower middle class, and their whole thing was just like, we just want you to be happy in your life, and just which was the greatest gift they could possibly give me, because my dad used to always say the only real sign of success is just being happy in what you do for a living. So that's what I did.
Al, this is my entire mantra in life. I'm like, you've got to like the thing you do.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. You have to like a thing about it.
If you love being a hedge fund manager, God bless you.
God bless. I don't want to do that. That's not for me. I wasn't put on this earth to do that.
Yeah.
But like, I tell my own kids that. I'm like, just like an aspect of something, and then study it a little bit and see if you really like it. And if you like something, you'll find a way to work in that realm. You know, it might not be the exact thing you thought it was, such as becoming the world's only comedic accordion maestro.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So is your daughter an aficionado of comedy now? Like, what is her?
Yeah, she appreciates it. I mean, I don't think she's going to go into comedy, but she's an artist. She's majoring in studio art and environmental science.
Oh, wow.
And not sure what she's going to wind up doing, but she'll figure it out. She's super bright and super talented, and again, like, most parents wouldn't encourage their offspring to go into the arts, but she's so good, it would be kind of a shame if she didn't.
Or just her tremendous deep love for hedge funds.
Whatever she wants to do, we're
mathematical.
Cool with it. Yeah.
We always say about our kids, we're like, the greatest rebellion that you could perpetrate on us is if you go into like tax law. Like, we would just like reversing roles from the 1960s. Like, we'll just be horrified. We'll be like, I don't approve of this.
It skips a generation,
It really does. When she was growing up, did she have a sense? How much was she exposed to your performance life, I guess?
I never told her what I did for a living. I was hoping, no. She was, I think she enjoyed it. She was never, I don't think she was jaded by it, or took it for granted, but it was just her reality. Like, my dad's Weird Al. This is what he does. Yeah. And she was used to, even when she was a baby, she would come on the road with us. We have a little pack and play in the back lounge.
Okay.
And we think that's where she got her sense of balance, because she would have to be, bus surfing, standing up in the back of the bus.
It's just like the family business. This is just the family business. This is what we do.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I most of my new music I get exposed to through my daughter, because I'm a little out of the loop. I'm not as laser focused on the Billboard charts as I was 10 years ago. And I listen to a lot of the music I listened to in college, just as like my comfort food of music.
Yes.
So every now and then my daughter will say, oh, you got to listen to Chappell Roan. You got to listen to, Doechii. You got to listen to, all these people. And I go, oh, and she's my conduit to pop music now.
Right. How do you select what you're going to pair? Like, how do you land on a parody? How do you know, how do you get inspired, or how do you know when you've been inspired by something? Like, when do you know that an idea has been triggered in you? Like, what
Uh,
does that look or feel like?
Well, on rare occasions, I'll have a bolt of lightning
Hmm.
epiphany and think, oh, I should do this
Yeah.
specific thing. But
Yeah.
more often than not, it's me analytically going through the charts and making a list of the songs that I think would be good candidates, good targets for
Okay.
parodies. And then I'll go through each one of them and come up with dozens and dozens of ideas, variations on a theme, puns, whatever,
Yeah.
uh, comedic ways I could tackle it. And 99% of those ideas are horrible, but
Great.
you got to get them on paper. You have to
Yeah.
put them
Yeah.
down, get them out of your head, and then
Yeah.
you look at that list and go, "Oh, maybe this one could work."
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's the process. It's just I wish it was more Kessel than Edison, but
Do you think of your, okay, this is a super specific question. Do you think of your audience when you're creating, or are you just creating for the creation? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you think, oh, I don't think my audience is going to get this reference, or like, I don't think that this is widely enough known for my audience to like, you know what I mean? How much do you
yeah.
think of them?
Well, I mean, it's not like I don't think of the audience, but I
Right.
primarily just write what I think is funny and
Okay.
then hope that everybody else thinks so too. Having said that, you don't want to have references that are too obscure.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a song called CNR, which is a pastiche of the White Stripes, and
Hmm.
it's a song about Charles Nelson Riley. And
Right.
part of me thought, like, the Venn diagram of people that know Charles Nelson Riley and the White Stripes is probably pretty slim, but I just thought it was a funny idea. Also,
I know those. I
okay,
get that
there you.
reference.
I
It's
did
maybe
that
it's for
song just for
me.
you.
It's just for me. Thank you.
And then like maybe when I play outside the U.S.,
Hmm.
there are some cultural
Oh
references which
yeah.
maybe don't fly. There's some words here that are really offensive in other countries. There's some pop culture, like I wrote a song about Oreo cookies in the '90s,
Okay.
and I don't know if they have them there now, but at the time I don't think they had them in the UK, and all these fans in the UK were like, "Are we supposed to know what Oreo cookies are? Like, you don't know Oreo cookies?
Yes.
What?" I was amazed, but I mean,
Why that? Oh,
yeah.
so in this tour, are you traveling? Is it international as well? Are you
We haven't announced anything.
okay?
We've gotten some really cool offers
Great.
for overseas, but we don't know yet. See, it's really expensive to take this tour
Yeah.
overseas because this is the big tour, so it's like costumes and props and big
Yeah.
screens and computer servers and segways and everything else.
Right.
So it's when we go overseas, it's mostly fan service. It's not like we're trying to make money. It's sort of like we're just trying to
Okay.
go overseas to make people happy.
Okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. And so you would have to like, do you change your set list based on where you are in the country also? Or do you
Not
like play with it a lot?
Not really. Like, we did a couple of tours called The Unfortunate Return of the Ridiculously Self-Indulgent Ill-Advised Vanity Tour.
Right.
And that was sort of like the deep cuts tour where it was very scaled down. It was literally just the band walked out, sat on stools, and played
Okay.
songs. And
Okay.
that was for a smaller audience. It was for like the hardcore fans that wanted to hear like all these random songs, not the hits.
Hmm.
And for those shows, literally every single set list was different.
Okay.
But when we do our normal big tour set list, it's pretty much the same show every night because there's so many moving pieces that like one song needs to lead into the next song,
I
and there's
see.
only like so many seconds for a costume change, so that like leads
Right.
you into this particular thing. So there's not a lot of surprises on this, but it's more like a Broadway show in that sense.
So this is your Eras tour.
This
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 is
is my
your
Eras tour, yes.
Eras tour. And how much time do you
Eras
spend?
tour, yeah.
I'm actually so obsessed with your tour. That's very
You
clear.
should
But like,
come.
I'm gonna come. All
I'll put you
100%.
I'll put you on the list. I know people in the Weird Al camp. So
Okay. That sounds, I'm 100% coming. That's very exciting. So how much do you rehearse? Like, I mean, I'm just saying the Eras tour as a joke, but like, I went to see it. It was incredible. The stagecraft
oh
was
yeah,
incredible.
it is.
Do you work like in the same kind of world? Like, is it sort of the same?
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
Taylor's tour is a bit more involved than
Slightly
mine. That
different, but
has more
Still.
more pyrotechnics, things like that.
Sure.
But
I don't know. You have segues and
that's true. That's true.
You got a lot going on.
I gave the band their marching orders like a year ago. Here's the set list.
Okay.
Here's your charts. Here's the demos. So they're doing their homework, and then next month is going to be when we all get together in a room and figure it out. And then the very last week before we leave is the full production. They come in with the screens and the costumes, and we make sure that everybody's clothes fit. And all that kind of stuff.
Everything fits. You can change quickly.
Right.
You could get from one look to the next. Machines are all working. Everything is fired up and ready.
We're starting the tour with like a mini residency in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And that'll be great, except, but I the caveat is like we're still trying to figure out what we're doing. It's going to be a lot of flop sweat because, we know things are going to go wrong.
Right.
And we're just like waiting to figure out what's going to happen,
Sure. When you do something like that, where you're kind of like previewing in a way, like does someone come out and say, hey, it's a preview. Something might go wrong. Don't call 911.
No, I'll make a joke like, welcome to the sound check,
Oh, got it. Did you ever, was there ever a point in your career, because like network executives are so, like they're just like in your business. Like how many people have tried to give you notes over the years, or have you always been able to maintain your total independence from other people's input?
In terms of my recording career, I've mostly had full reign, except I remember like early on, my record label tried to give me ideas, which is always a bad sign. Like they didn't care at the very beginning because I wasn't selling records and they just, didn't care. And then my second album had Eat It, and that was an international bestseller. So my third album, they said, oh, we've got some thoughts,
Okay.
So the single on the third album was the Madonna parody, Like a Surgeon.
Yeah.
And my record label said, well, Madonna's okay, but we really think you should do a Cyndi Lauper parody. In fact, if you don't do a Cyndi Lauper parody, we're not going to put out the album. So I thought, well, I think the Madonna's pretty popular, And they said, well, no, you got to be Cyndi. So I grudgingly did Girls Just Want to Have Lunch, which was it's certainly one of my lesser works. And in fact, my whole performance is like me going, girl just want to have lunch. I'm doing this under duress. I didn't want to do this song, but I'm doing it. Make you happy.
You can like hear the gun to the back of your head.
Yeah.
So clearly. Oh my God, that's so funny. So you have experienced the thrill of having network executives who thought they were really funny.
And they wanted a Christmas album so bad. They said, because that's the record company cash grab there. Like if you get a comedic act, like by the second album, put out the Christmas single. Right. And I did like the darkest Christmas songs I could think of, like The Night Santa Went Crazy and Christmas at Ground Zero. And they're like, okay, we're not going to ask you to do anything else anymore. That's it.
Just do your own.
We give up.
Thing. That's fine. You're popular enough now. Now we're not allowed.
Right.
So finally, they were like, oh, okay, you've sold enough albums. We'll slowly back out the door.
Yeah.
Okay, 2022, you collaborated on Weird, the Al Yankovic story, which is basically the satire version of a biopic about your life, right? Do I have this?
Yes.
I have this right.
It's not entirely true.
You co-wrote the script. Did you always know that you would spoof this genre, or like did part of you want to give yourself the real actual biopic treatment, or are you waiting for someone to do that?
No, I mean,
oh God,
I have no desire to tell the actual story. The actual story is not that interesting. I mean, there's been a behind the music and several shows, and I've been talking about my life in interviews, and I was just tired of the actual story, and
right.
And Eric Appel and I did a Funny or Die video back in 2010 called We're the Al Yankovic Story, which is basically like a trailer for the movie.
Right.
And we just thought that was a funny thing where, for one thing, I'm still alive. And for another
Right.
thing,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
my actual life is not the thing you would write a biopic about, because there's no rock star drama. There's no,
Right.
craziness going on. And that video kind of went viral at the time. And I played it in my live shows because, I play things on the big screen while I'm doing
Right.
costume changes. And that was something that was a staple of the live show for many years. And after the show, people would say, "Oh, when's the movie coming out?" And I'd have to say, "Well, no, it's just a joke. It's just a gag. It's a bit." But 10 years later, like after Bohemian Rhapsody was winning Oscars and I think Rocket Man was about to come out, I emailed Eric and said, "Oh, maybe we should do this for real."
Right.
Just a really started out like a normal Hollywood biopic, but then just gradually go completely off the rails. And he was down with it, and we somehow were able to put it together.
Do people offer to make a movie about you and you're like, please don't? Please,
Well,
that's the only style I want to do.
If Scorsese really wants to do a real Weird Al biopic, I'd consider it.
Can you imagine if the third window popped open on this computer screen and it was Martin Scorsese?
What?
He's like, what? Betty. Oh my God. This was, I thank you so much for this. I feel like cleansed. I feel
Me too.
cleansed by this conversation. It was really fun to talk to you.
I hope we get scammed into this again sometime soon.
Thank you to our scammer. That was Weird Al Yankovic, and I had no choice but to look up one thing. We were talking about Dr. Demento, who was the first person to play Weird Al's music when he was a teenager. I had to see if he was still on the air. Well, I mean, yeah, he is somehow, kind of. This show aired on the radio from 1971 to 2010 and was so hugely influential in my life as well. And since 2010, you can still find it weekly as an online program. Come on, check it out. Thanks for joining us. I'm Samantha Bee, and see you next week for some more Choice Words. Thank you for listening to Choice Words, which was created by and is hosted by me. The show is produced by Tzvia Baron-Reinstein with editing and additional producing by Josh Richmond. We're distributed by Lemonada Media, and you can find me at RealSamB on X and Instagram. Follow Choice Words wherever you get your podcasts or listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership.